The following is a class on the Srimad Bhagavatam, First Canto, Chapter number 1, Text number 23, given by His Grace, Sriman Sankarshan Das Adhikari, recorded on September 15th, 2011, in Sofia, Bulgaria.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bruhi Yoga Ishvare Krishna Brahmanye Dharma Varmani Svam Kastam Aduna Upete Dharma Kam Sharanam Gataha Bruhi Yogeshvare Krishna Brahmanye Dharma Varmani Svam Kashtam Madhuno Pete Dharma Kang Sharanam Gataha Bruhi Yogeshvare Krishna Brahmanye Dharma Varmani Svankashtam Madhuno Pete Dharmakang Sharanam Gataha Bruhi. Please tell Yoga Ishvare, the Lord of all mystic powers, Krishna, Lord Krishna, Brahmanye, the Absolute Truth, Dharma, religion, Varmani, protector, Svam, own, Kashtam, abode, Aduna, nowadays, Upete, having gone away, Dharma, religion, come, unto whom? Sharanam, shelter, Gataha, gone. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Since Sri Krishna, the Absolute Truth, the Master of all mystic powers, has departed for his own abode, please tell us to whom the religious principles have now gone for shelter. Purport. Essentially, religion is the prescribed codes enunciated by the personality of Godhead himself. Whenever there is gross misuse or neglect of the principles of religion, the Supreme Lord appears himself to restore religious principles. This is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Here, the sages of Dhammasharanya are inquiring about these principles. The reply to this question is given later. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the transcendental sound representation of the personality of Godhead, and thus it is the full representation of transcendental knowledge and religious principles. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta reports of the first canto, first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Questions by the Sages. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganitanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Varijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Shra. So, Krishna is very kind. Even when he is not physically present here to bless us with his association, the religious principles that he teaches remain here with us. In the form of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, all you have to do to get the association of God is to study these scriptures. And as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Sangat Sanjayate Kama. One's consciousness is developed according to one's association. Therefore, if you associate with God, you become godly. Therefore, we should regularly study these scriptures on a daily basis, as confirmed by the Srimad Bhagavatam. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. We should regularly study the book Bhagavatam. And we should always serve the person Bhagavatam. That person Bhagavatam means that person whose life is Srimad Bhagavatam. That person is the spiritual master. So by associating with the book Bhagavatam and by the person Bhagavatam, we become connected with Krishna. We are able to associate with Krishna. And by that association with Krishna, we regain our original transcendental nature. As we studied last night in the Bhagavad Gita, the original natural position of the living entity is to be full of prema or love of God. Just as milk, when it comes in contact with sour tamarind, becomes transformed into yogurt, the living entity who is in pure Krishna prema is transformed into a person who is living in lust or kama when he comes into contact with the material energy. Just as sour tamarind transforms milk into yogurt, the material energy transforms prema into kama. There's no way to turn yogurt back into milk. There's no way to reverse the process. It's a one-way process. But we are very fortunate that by the mercy of Krishna, you can reverse karma and you can turn karma back into prema.
да обърнем кама отново в према.
Just as the contact of the material energy transforms prema into kama,
Така както контакта с материалната енергия трансформира према в кама,
the contact of the spiritual energy turns kama back into prema.
контакта с духовната енергия трансформира кама отново в према.
So, if we can always stay in touch with the spiritual energy,
И така, ако можем постоянно сме в контакт с духовната енергия,
we will regain our natural original state of
ние
consciousness,
ще възстановим нашето естествено изначално състояние на съзнанието,
which is known as super consciousness
което е познато като супер съзнание
or Krishna consciousness.
или Кришна съзнание.
So, the goal of our process that we teach here in ISKCON
Така че целта на процеса, който ние ви учим в Искон,
is to reawaken that original super consciousness or Krishna consciousness
е да разбъди това изначално супер съзнание или Кришна съзнание,
by contacting the spiritual energy in many, many different ways.
като се свържете с духовната енергия по много начини.
Sevan Muke Hijivado, beginning with the tongue.
Започвайки с език.
Chant Hare Krishna.
Настоявайте Харе Кришна.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and then taste prasadam.
След това приемайте прасадам.
And then engage your ears also in hearing
И
about Krishna.
ангажирайте ушите си в слушане на Харе Кришна.
Engage your legs in walking to the temple.
Ангажирайте краката си в ходене до храма.
Engage your body in bowing down before the Lord.
Ангажирайте тялото си в отдаване на поклон пред Бога.
Engage your intelligence in understanding the teachings of Krishna.
Ангажирайте интелигентността си в разбиране на учението на Кришна.
Engage all of your senses. Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam.
Ангажирайте всичките си слива в слушане на.
Engage all of your senses in the service of the master of the senses, Rishikesha.
Ангажирайте ги в слушане на Кришна.
This is the way of becoming perfect in Krishna consciousness.
Това е начинът да станем съвършени в Кришна съзнание.
So it's not that we have to be bereft of the Lord's association.
Така че не трябва да бъдем лишени от общуването на Бога.
We can always be living in the association of the Lord at every minute
Ние винаги можем да живеем в общуването на Бога,
by taking advantage of the Lord's mercy.
възползвайки се от милостта на Бога.
This is the sages of Namasharanya are hearing from Sutta Goswami
И както мъдреците от Намишерания слушат от Сута Госвами,
how to become connected with God.
как да се свържат с Бога.
We should also hear from Sutta Goswami how to become connected with God.
Ние също трябва да слушаме от Сута Госвами как да се свържем с Бога.
So here in the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we're able to hear from Sutta Goswami.
И чрез страниците на Шримад Бхагаватам ние имаме възможност да слушаме от Сута Госвами.
And we are also able to hear from his representative, the bona fide spiritual master.
И също така имаме възможност да слушаме от неговия представител, авторитетния духовен учител.
So in this way, we can become connected with Krishna,
Този начин може да станем свързани с Кришна
and we become happy in Krishna consciousness.
и да станем щастливи в Кришна съзнание.
There is no need to suffer in this material world.
Няма нужда да страдам в този материален свят.
Suffering is an unnatural position.
Страданието е неестествена позиция.
Just as a fish is naturally happy swimming in the water,
Така както рибата е естествено щастлива, плувайки в водата,
we, the living entities, are naturally happy swimming in the ocean of Krishna prema.
ние, живите същества, сме естествено щастливи, плувайки в океана на Кришна према.
But if somehow we are washed up onto the beach
Но ако по някакъв начин сме изхвърлени на брега
of this material energy,
на тази материална енергия,
we'll be flapping in pain,
ние ще пляскаме в болка,
suffering birth, death, old age, and disease,
страдайки раждане, болести, старост и смърт.
again and again and again.
Отново.
So the spiritual master comes,
И така духовният учител идва
he picks us up,
и ни вдига
he throws us back in the water.
и ни хвърлят отново в водата.
But the trouble is, when he picks us up, we wriggle out of his hands and we stay on the beach.
Но проблема е, че ние си изпъзваме от неговите ръце и оставаме на
Shri Gaurnitai ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai, Shri Sadbhuja ki jai. So when the spiritual master picks us up, we shouldn't try to wriggle our way out of his hands. We should surrender to the spiritual master so that he can toss us back into the ocean of Krishna Prem. Spiritual master has not come to cheat us. He has no desire of pounds, shilling, and pence. He has no desire for money. His only desire is to save the four fallen souls of this world. His only desire is to make people happy. So we should take advantage of the bona fide spiritual master. Let him throw us back into that ocean of Krishna Prema, where we can forever enjoy an ever-increasing mellows of loving mood with the Supreme Lord. So I can ask now if there's any questions. Yes.
Каква трябва да бъде целта ни? Кришна съзнание. Дали много голямо и възвишена, а от друга страна, съзнавайки своите недостатъци и лоши качества, скромна и малка. Каква трябва да бъде целта, която да си поставяме в Кришна съзнание?
Or what should be our goal in Krishna consciousness, very big or a small one, considering our qualities?
What should be our goal in Krishna consciousness? To become a pure devotee. Answer. My goal is to become a pure devotee. That's what you should think. I'm saying I must become a pure devotee. If you have any other goal, you're cheating yourself. Why take some secondary goal? My goal is to become a pure devotee. That's what everyone should think. Anything else? Yeah.
You said we should see Krishna by studying the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. But one can become a jnani, can't we? And then forget about Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, speculations.
What's that about jnanis? What's that?
So just studying the Shastra.
Mm-hmm. No, one should apply the Shastra. The question is can one simply study the Shastra? The answer is no, one has to study the Shastra and apply the Shastra also.
Въпросът на Матаджи беше, изучавайки Шримад Бхагаватам, дали не бихме се превърнали в яни. Отговорът е не, ние трябва не само да изучаваме, но и да я прилагаме Шастра.
The Shastra is full of practical instructions of what you should do.
Шастра е пълна с практически предписания какво трябва да правим.
It's like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Satatam kirtayanto mam. One should always chant my names. He says you should surrender to me. He says that you should learn the truth by accepting a spiritual master. So these things should be done. If you want to realize the highest truth, then you have to follow the instructions. This is very practical. Just like if you want to bake a cake, can you simply read a recipe and get a cake? Or do you have to follow the recipe? What is the answer? You can read the cookbook and a cake will manifest just by reading the cookbook? Can you read a cookbook and get a cake by reading the book? No. You have to follow the cookbook.
Трябва да следвате готварското.
You have to do what the cookbook says.
Да правите това, което каза готварското.
And then you get a cake.
И тогава ще има такова.
So simply reading the Bhagavad Gita will not give you Krishna Prem.
Защото само четенето на Бхагавад Гита няма да ви даде Кришна према.
You have to follow the instructions given in the Bhagavad Gita.
Трябва да следвате инструкциите дадени в Бхагавад Гита.
Then you will get the cake of Krishna Prema.
Тогава ще имате тортата на Кришна према.
Any other questions?
Други въпроси.
Yes.
Първо, извинете ме за може би глупави или неуместен въпрос, обаче той е пряко свързан с агресията и с тази смисъл несмиреност, агресия и така нататък. Случва ли се понякога, когато духовният учител ходи по улицата, кучетата да балаят, например? И как всъщност, нали, заробете понякога чувстват ли се или те не притежават това качество завист или осъзнанието по някакъв начин положението, в което се намират или изпитват завист, нали, към какво се поражда на тази агресия?
Агресията от живота.
От животните, да, и как някои зверове или хора, ако изпитват завист или агресия спрямо тебе, как да се справиш с това нещо?
So his question is about aggression. What is the origin of aggression and how you can overcome this aggression?
So what is aggression? What is the origin of aggression and how can you overcome aggression? Everything originates in Krishna.
Всичко произлиза от Кришна.
So the quality of aggression is originally there in God.
Така че дори качеството агресия.
When God is aggressive, it is perfect, it is pure.
Но Божията агресия е съвършено чиста.
But if we become aggressive for material sense gratification, that is impure.
Но ако станем агресивни за материално стимулно наслаждение, това е нечисто.
So we don't advise you to give up being aggressive.
Така че ние не ви съветваме да изоставите агресията.
We advise you, instead of being aggressive for your own sense enjoyment, you become aggressive for Krishna.
Ние ви съветваме вместо да бъдете агресивни собственото си стимулно наслаждение, да станете агресивни за
That way your aggressive tendencies will become curbed down.
И по този начин тази тенденция ще се пречисти.
In the material world, people are very aggressive to exploit others for sense enjoyment.
В материалния свят хората са много агресивни да експлоатират другите за стимулно наслаждение.
But the devotee, he's very aggressive to bless everyone with Krishna consciousness.
Но преданание е много агресивен да благослови всички с Кришна съзнание.
A businessman is very aggressive to put all of his competitors out of business.
Бизнесмена е агресивен да изхвърли всички свои конкуренти от бизнеса.
But the devotee is very aggressive to make the whole world Krishna conscious.
Но преданание е много агресивен да направи целия свят Кришна съзнание.
So aggression is neither good nor bad in itself.
Така че сама по себе си агресията не е нито добра, нито лоша.
It's the purpose that you use it for that's good or bad.
А целта, която използваш, е добра или лоша.
It's like the surgeon's knife, the scalpel.
Също както скалпела на хирург.
It can be used to remove cancer, or it can be used to murder somebody.
Той може да бъде използван да бъде отстранен рак или да бъде убит някой.
So the surgeon's knife is in itself neither good nor bad.
Така че скалпелът на хирурга сам по себе си не е нито добър, нито лош.
What makes it good or bad is how it is used.
Но това, което го прави добър и лош, е как е използван.
So if you use aggression in the service of Krishna, then it is very good.
Така че ако използвате агресия в служение на Кришна, това е много добре.
If you use it for your own power, your own sense gratification, then it's bad.
Но ако използвате собствената си сила за своята собствена сила в служение, това е лошо.
Any other questions?
Други въпроси?
Може да продължение на този.
Да.
Всъщност, как да се справим с агресията, която идва към нас от среща и тя резултат ли е на тая, която ние насочваме навън?
How to overcome the aggression that is pointed towards us from others, and is it the result?
How to do what?
How to overcome, how to defend ourselves from the aggression of others, and is it the result of our own aggression?
Yes, if others are being aggressive towards you to exploit you,
Да, другите са агресивни към теб да те експлоатират.
you're actually getting the reactions for your own past sinful activities.
Това е свързано, защото получаваш реакциите от собствените си греховни дейности в миналото.
In other words, they are not the cause of your suffering.
С други думи, те не са причина за твоето страдание.
It is your own karma coming back on you.
Това е просто твоята карма, която се връща при теб.
So you are the cause of your own suffering.
Така че ти си причина за собствените си страдания.
But at the same time, if someone is coming aggressively, then you have to defend yourself.
Но в същото време, ако някой стане агресивен, ти трябва да се защитиш.
If someone is coming to kill you, then you have to take necessary steps to defend yourself.
Ако някой е дошъл да те убие, трябва да предприемаш необходимите стъпки да се защитиш.
You have to hide or you have to run.
Трябва да се скриеш или да избягаш.
Or you have to kill them before they can kill you.
Или да убиеш преди той да те убие.
A devotee it's acceptable to defend oneself against, in Vedic scriptures, it is allowable to defend oneself against the attack of aggressors.
Според ведическите писания е позволено човек да се защити от агресори.
Our philosophy is not non-violence.
Нашата философия не е за ненасилие.
Our philosophy is someone is coming to kill me, I can kill them first before they kill me.
Нашата философия е, че ако някой е дошъл да ме убие, аз мога да го убия първи, преди той да ме убие.
We are not aggressive people.
И не сме агресивни хора.
But if necessary, we can use aggression to defend ourselves against the attack of aggressors.
Но ако е необходимо, ние може да използваме агресия, за да защитим от атаките на агресора.
But the modern day society is very aggressive against innocent animals and innocent children.
Съвременното общество е много агресивно срещу невинните животни и невинните деца.
This is very, very sinful thing. They're killing the cows in the slaughterhouse.
Това е много греховно да убиваш краи в кланица.
And they're murdering the babies in the abortion clinics.
И да убиваш бебета в клиники за аборт.
One should never use aggression against innocent creatures.
Човек никога не трябва да извършва агресия срещу
Aggression can be used against aggressors,
агресията може да бъде
but
използвана,
not against the innocent people.
но не и срещу невинни хора.
Anything else?
Друго.
Okay, we'll stop here. We thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.